The invitation. TrePlay speaks to many people. Initially, you'll not know who your regulars are going to be. However, after some trial and error, you'll know who will really enjoy the TrePlay experience and maybe those who will not. But I do recommend giving everyone a chance and the opportunity to give it a go because you just simply don't know until they've given it a try. And you might be surprised. Someone who you think for sure would resonate with it actually doesn't. Whereas another will be completely engaged when they rarely participate in anything else. And then there are those where your instinct will be right on the mark. Give ample time for your residents or clients to become familiar with the TrePlay experience. TrePlay is a new type of activity and it's going to initially be new to everyone. So give your potential players some time to warm up to it. And let them enter into the activity cautiously. If your resident or client prefers to be an observer first, okay, that's fine. You can just begin modeling how you'd like them to interact with the materials and then see if over time they begin to join you. And if they do eventually engage, then you as the facilitator can become less hands-on in order for their ideas to shine through. Many players will be ready to jump right in and act like they've been TrePlaying for years. Now keep in mind that TrePlay is not for everyone. There may be some people who don't resonate with the activity at all, or they might feel threatened by it, even after repetitive exposure. So honor those feelings and release them from the experience. Because you're just beginning to facilitate TrePlay, I'm going to recommend that you begin working one-on-one with a resident or client. Then you can become familiar with the process of this open-ended activity, and you can be present and available without feeling overwhelmed. After some time, and once you feel more comfortable with TrePlay, you might be inspired to offer TrePlay to more than one player at a time, which would be wonderful as there's so much power in this activity in a group setting. But for right now, just focus on a one-on-one scenario. So the next thing I want you to think about is how you're going to invite someone to join you for the first few times. How are you going to describe the activity to them? What do you say? Now, I do have some phrases to get you started, but I do encourage you, though, to play around with the wording yourself and see what you're comfortable with and how you think your potential players will respond best. Some phrases to consider are, come try a new activity with me called TrePlay. Come create a design or scene with me using a variety of materials. Come watch me. Then you'll have a better sense of what it is. Let's do some fun things with our hands and use our imagination. It's a creative outlet. It's relaxing. You don't need to know how to draw or paint or have a special skill set. There's no right or wrong way to do it or specific directions to follow. Just come, and we can enjoy being together. So think about what your eloquent way is of inviting residents to come and enjoy this TrePlay experience. Have fun playing around with the invitation, but also keep in mind that there's no better explanation than for them to experience TrePlay firsthand. So also consider less words and more action. Soon enough, many of your residents or clients won't need much of an explanation, and they'll just recognize TrePlay as a common household name. Now you want to consider when and where the two of you are going to engage in TrePlay. Think about what time of day your player might appreciate this activity the most. When do they either have the most energy or control over their motor functioning? When are they looking for something fun to do? When do they need to feel rejuvenated or just need that extra one-on-one time? Make sure your block of time will give you the freedom to leisurely work through the materials. You don't want to feel rushed, and you want enough time for the creative process to come to full expression, if possible. Scout out an accommodating location. The most important thing is to have enough room for your large white tray and a few dishes. A rectangular or square-shaped table is the best versus round, as then the tray can be right in front of the player and is easily accessible. You'll also want to have good lighting so they can see the objects well, and also for photographing their final expression at the end of the session if you choose to do so. And then give some thought to if you want to facilitate this activity in a quiet or private space, or do you want to be out in the hubbub of it all so others can witness it? Sometimes the only way to know what works best is to try. So allow yourself to experiment with different locations and see where you and your players feel most comfortable. If you're planning on adding some of the tray play enhancements, like playing music during your session or offering warm scented washcloths at the end, then you'll want to consider a few more things. When choosing to include music in the background and you're using a CD player, just make sure you have an outlet nearby. Or you can simply use a smartphone to either stream Pandora or play from your playlist. When choosing to offer warm lavender scented washcloths at the end of your session, make sure you have easy access to a microwave for warming. Or another option is to have running hot water available so you can prepare the cloth at the end of your time together. There is much power behind the tray play experience. Tray play is a wonderful way to connect with your resident or client and can make it easy for the two of you to converse and engage with each other. Sometimes it can be difficult to know what to talk about or break repetitive thought patterns or challenge one's mind appropriately. Because tray play presents a wide variety of beautiful, interesting materials, there's always something to bring one's attention to, and you can keep the conversation moving forward, which in turn keeps both of you engaged. It's also another way to potentially learn more about your resident or client. It's fascinating to see what thoughts or memories the enticing materials provoke. Tray play themes are created more so to ensure that the player's tray is visually appealing, regardless of his or her arrangement, and not necessarily for the conversation to revolve around it. Now, it's a great starting point for sure to begin the topic of conversation around the theme, but then try letting it go and see where else your player takes it, because that's the exciting part.